Hi, this is Topher with OS Training. We're going to start a series here on how to build a membership site using the plugin called Paid Memberships Pro. First, let's take a quick look at what it means to have a membership site. One of the best examples I've seen is actually ostraining.com itself. There's some free content. If you click on Videos and WordPress Videos, and go to WordPress Beginner, you'll see that there are some free videos here. And yet there are some which are not free, and if you're not logged in, when you click, it takes you to the purchase page. This is a great example of a membership site. You can sell access to all kinds of things, whether it be site content like OS Training, or perhaps access to downloadable software, like on a plugin store, or anything like that. So let's do a quick overview of Paid Memberships Pro. We're looking at it here on WordPress.org, and you can see that it is a free plugin. There's a nice video right here on .org, so you can see how that works. And then there's a nice description of the kinds of things it can do. It integrates with most popular payment gateways, and there's a nice list here. Works with any theme, infinitely configurable, easy to use admin pages and settings, and so on. It says there are free add-ons to customize and extend PM Pro. Now there's also a regular website called paidmembershipspro.com, and here you can see that you can get a membership for $97. Let's click on pricing here. And you can see the free download has the plugin and all add-on packages. Also access to an installation video and plugin documentation. The Pro membership gives you all of that, plus 1 year access to documentation, recipes, premium content, videos, and members-only forums. So basically it gives you greater access to a community where you can ask questions and help each other grow. Additionally, you can get 1 hour of hands-on custom development, or a consultation call for an hour, or an entire day of developer time helping you work on this. Now I'd like to point out that this plugin is maintained by one person named Jason. And you can see right here you get a 1 hour phone call with Jason. I've met Jason, and he's a really great developer, and he's a very personable guy. So if you're wondering whether or not it's worth it to try to talk to him, I highly recommend it. Let's look at a few of the things that Paid Membership Pro can do. If you don't need support, you can have access to the plugin completely for free. Additionally, and this is pretty special and unique to this plugin, if you go to the add-ons page, rather than paying for each individual add-on, they're all free. Here are 3 that are right in the WordPress repository. You can make it integrate with bbPress for forums. But then we have third-party integration. So this is software not made by Jason, software made by other people to integrate with his product. So you can see that it works well with WooCommerce, as well as MailChimp, Constant Contact, and many, many others. There are some down here on GitHub. And all of these are free. So Paid Memberships Pro is a pretty flexible plugin that's free that allows you to build a site where you get paid. So in the rest of the series, we'll take a look at how to get this set up and working for you. In this session, we're going to take a look at installing Paid Memberships Pro and beginning the setup process. Now, since it's a free plugin, we can simply go to Plugins, Add New, type in the name, and there it is at the top. Now, it's worth noting that many of the add-ons are found with the same search. Let's go ahead and install. And activate. There we are. Now on the left, we have a memberships nav item. We're going to start first looking at page settings. Now, at its core, Paid Memberships Pro is an e-commerce platform. You're selling access to content. And so, as such, it needs these pages to exist in the system. An account page, a billing information page, cancel page, checkout page, confirmation page, invoice page, and a levels page. Now, you could go create these all by hand, and then one by one put these short codes in there. But, very conveniently, here at the top, you can click to have them generate them for us. And now, the following pages have been created. Those are the post IDs for those pages. And you can see that they all exist. And if we go over to pages, you can see that they are there also. Additionally, they're all a child of the account page. So that's exceptionally convenient that those are created for you. The next thing I want to look at is payment settings. Now, a payment gateway is a piece of software that sits between you and a credit card processing organization, because you don't have access to process credit cards. Very few people do. So a gateway allows you to communicate with those people and make sure things happen properly. Right now, out of the box, we have access to a testing-only payment gateway, which we will stick with for now, pay by check, Stripe, several different PayPal options, Authorize.net, Braintree, 2Checkout, and CyberSource. My favorite is Stripe, of course, and there's actually an OS training series devoted only especially to Stripe. And watching that will actually help you configure Stripe here, since it's very, very simple. But for now, we'll leave it at testing. And then, within our gateway environment, we can choose sandbox testing or live production. So if we wanted to, we could choose Stripe and leave it in sandbox testing. And then our site would interface with Stripe in a testing environment. But again, I'm going to leave it testing only. Then you get to choose your currency. As you can see, there are many options. And you get to choose what credit card types you take. Then here we have the option to accept taxes. Now, most places in the US do not tax for things sold on the internet, especially non-tangible things like access to a website. So you may be able to simply leave this blank. But you should check. You are dealing with finances and you are dealing with laws. It would be very sad to be wrong. Here we have some SSL settings. We have the option to force SSL. I recommend it, and I recommend that you buy an SSL certificate. There are a variety of places you can get one. And basically it encrypts everything that happens between the end user and your site. This protects everyone. It protects you from a lawsuit. It protects your users from whomever may be spying on them, whether it be their government or their neighbor or whatever. This form does not set up SSL for you. It simply allows you to tell your WordPress install that you have installed SSL somewhere else. If you need help, I strongly recommend you contact your internet hosting provider. If they don't know how to do it, then you could hire a developer, or you could learn how to yourself, or you could get a different hosting environment. The next thing is an Ssl Seal Code. Sometimes you'll see at the bottom of online stores, this site protected by such and such security firm. It's just a small bit of HTML, and you could paste it in this box. And then there's an extra HTTPS URL filter. This checks one last time to make sure that any URLs that you may have pasted in your own code get an SSL certificate attached to them. So to review, we looked at the pages that are required for Paid Membership Pro, and we saw that Paid Membership Pro can create them for us. And then we also looked at the payment gateway in Ssl Settings. You can choose any payment gateway on this list, and there are actually more that you could purchase. You can decide what currencies you want to take, credit cards, taxes, and your SSL materials. I can't stress SSL strongly enough. If you're going to take money, have SSL. If you don't have SSL, don't take money. It's just too risky. We'll take a look at some more settings in the next video. In this series, we're going to take a look at how Paid Membership Pro sends emails. We're here in the settings area under the email tab, and here are a variety of settings. Paid Membership Pro sends emails for a variety of reasons. New signups, account shutdown, changes in things, that sort of thing. This is where you can configure how that email works, who it's from, etc. Here at the top, you can set the from email. This is what's default in my setup right now. I'm using a local development environment with desktop server, so it says membership.dev, but you should set this to whatever you want your emails to be from. Also, you have a from name, so this would be your own personal name. Now by default, Paid Membership Pro takes over all the mail sending for your entire WordPress site, even for comments and things like that, and it will use these settings. If you don't want that, if you want the rest of WordPress to use its normal email stuff, then you would check this box, and then the above settings will only apply to emails sent by Paid Membership Pro. In here we can decide when Paid Membership Pro sends an email: when a member checks out, when an admin changes a user's membership level through the dashboard, when a user cancels his or her account, and when a user updates his or her billing information. These are checked by default, but you could uncheck them if you wish. And then here's an option for new users. By default, a new user in WordPress gets a WordPress email. Additionally, Paid Membership Pro sends a welcome email. If you leave this unchecked, then they get only the email from Paid Membership Pro, which is a little less confusing for new users. That's all there is for the email settings. It's pretty simple. The emails look nice, and they convey the information that they need to. If you want to learn about how to configure what the emails say, there's a link right here. Click here to learn more about Paid Memberships Pro emails. And when you click it, it goes to the Paid Memberships Pro website. And it says this page is restricted to free level members or higher. So we have to create an account and log in to see the documentation. But it is free. This is an excellent example of Paid Membership Pro's ability to create free memberships. This way, you get information from people, their name, their email address, that sort of thing, so that you can stay in touch with them. You can use this information for any number of things, but we're not going to log in and look at those. You can edit emails for a long, long time. The next tab we're going to look at is the Advanced tab. Here we have some messages. The message for logged in non-members. So for example, you've logged in and you have a free account, but you haven't paid for the advanced account or whatever. Right here it'll say this account is for, and then there's a placeholder, levels, members only. And then you can click to register. There's also a referrer option as a placeholder. So you could make a link to go back to where you just came from. And then there's a message for logged out users. And it simply says this content is for levels members only. Again, showing what levels may access this content. And then there's a similar one for the RSS feed, so you can actually lock down the RSS feed as well. Here we have the option to filter searches and archives. If we say no, then a non-member will see results in their search that are restricted to members. Now, if they click on them, they're told they can't see them and they need to register. But they can see that they're there. If you say yes, then non-members won't even see that content. They will never know that it's even there. And there are good scenarios for wanting either of these. You just need to decide which you like. And we can choose to show excerpts to non-members or not. I would recommend showing excerpts because it shows non-members a taste of what's inside, and you can customize those excerpts to say anything you wish. You can choose to hide ads from all members, certain members, or no members. And then you can choose to use Recaptcha for free memberships only, or all memberships, or none. Recaptcha is a program for Google that lets you put up the squiggly letters that are really hard to read to prove you're not a robot. In order to use this, you have to sign up for Recaptcha, and then optionally require terms of service on signups. It will want to go on a page, and I have not created a page yet. I would not want to use any of these because these are used for my store. So I need to go up to Pages and go to Add New, and I will type in Terms of Service. I'm using Make, so I'm going to choose the default template and Publish. And you'll note that I've left it blank. But I'll come back here, I'll reload the page so that it knows about my new page, and I'll come down here and choose Terms of Service and hit Save Settings. And now we have a Terms of Service page. We'll take a look at that later. So, quick review. We looked at the Email tab, and how to set up who it's from, when emails are sent, and very briefly at how to change them, or at least how to find the documentation on changing them. And then under the Advanced tab, which is largely about managing failures. You want to manage what happens when someone tries to access something they're not allowed to. In our next session, we're going to take a look at membership levels, which really gets into the meat of this whole thing. In this video, we're going to take a look at membership levels for Paid Memberships Pro. Under the Memberships nav, there's Membership Levels. And here you can see that we have none. So let's add a new one. Before we do that, let's think about what we're going to add. Let's add a free membership level so that anyone who wants to can sign up and have access to something. And then let's have a $10 a month membership level, which will give them access to some certain categories so that we can put restricted content right into that category and very easily restrict access to it. So we'll call this first one free, and then we can create a description. And there's a nice WYSIWYG text editor, so we can write in all kinds of things there. Let's just put in, this level is free, so everyone can enjoy. And then a confirmation message. This goes to someone who signs up. And here we have a little bit of billing details. There's initial payment. We're going to put in 0. And then we can check if this level has a recurring subscription payment, which ours does not. We can optionally disable new signups and have a membership expiration. So we could say we're only accepting free memberships this month. If we do that, then we can choose how many days from now this will expire. And then there are content settings. So we're going to say uncategorized category is available to free members. And now we will save this level. Rather than click New, I'm actually going to click Copy. And you can see that it actually does copy the original. So let's put in 10 MO. This level is for the more discerning amongst us. We'll just say, welcome, enjoy our content. Initial payment, $10. And this is recurring. So let's say that it is $10 per 30 days. And then there's a billing cycle limit. So we could put in per months. Now we could set this to go for a certain amount of time. 0 means that this will run on forever. If we put in 12, then it's for a year, and after a year it will stop billing them and close their access. So I'm going to set mine at 0. You have the option to add a custom trial period. So we could say that it's $5 for the first 3 payments. So your first 3 months are half off. We can choose to disable new signups, which we don't want to do right now. And we can choose to set when membership access expires. As you can see, you can set it to a certain number of days, weeks, months, or years. I'm actually going to turn that off because I want people to stay signed up long term. Now this one also has access to uncategorized. So let's save this level. Let's go to Posts, Categories, and we'll create one called Members. And then go back to Memberships, Membership Levels, and let's edit 10 per month. Now this one has access to members. And there we are. Now we have 2, free and $10 a month. In our next video, we'll take a look at users and the members list and how to get people into the right membership level. In this session, we're going to take a look at how to associate WordPress users with Paid Memberships Pro's membership levels. Here are our membership levels. We have a free one and one for $10 per month. On the left here, there's a members list. And here you can see we have no members at all. And you can't even add them from here. That's because Paid Memberships Pro works directly with WordPress users, not with its own users. Right now, the only user on the system is me, so let's create some, and you can see how I can associate them. So we have Alice. We'll give her a password. And we'll leave her set to be a subscriber. There. Now she is just a plain user, but you can see over here there's none for membership level. Let's create one more and then we'll work with both of them at the same time. So let's make Bob. Give Bob a password. And we will also leave him as a subscriber. There, we have 2 new users, no membership levels. So now let's edit Alice. Down here at the bottom is membership level. And we could choose free. Then we can choose whether or not this access will expire. Then we can also choose to send the user an email about this change, which I won't because I gave Alice a fake email address. And we can choose to cancel this user's subscription at the gateway. We don't want to cancel this user's subscription, so we will update user. There. Now Alice is in the free group. If we go back to the users page, you can see her membership level is free. Now let's set Bob to $10 per month. Let's leave everything the same. Click Update User. There. Now Bob is in the $10 per month group. And just like that, we can create users and manage their membership levels. Now let's try logging in as Alice and Bob and see what we get. But first, we need to make some content. Let's get rid of Hello World, and we'll create a free post. And then we will put it in the category of members and uncategorized. And then here we can require a certain membership. I'm going to require only free. So now let's publish. Now let's view this post. It says right here, this content is for 10MO and free members only. Now what we just learned is that 10MO is actually a bad name. So let's go back and change it. There. And now we can see this content is for $10 per month and free members only. And I can choose to register, which I'm not going to do right now. However, I'm going to open an incognito tab here in Chrome. We'll go to our page. And now we have a login option. We did not before because I was actually logged in. I simply didn't have the right permissions. So I'll click Login, and we'll log in as Alice. And now it takes us to our profile page. What we actually want is to go back to this page. And now you can see this is a free post. Now if we edit this a little bit more, update, we'll view, and you can see that while I am logged in here as Topher, it still says that I have to log in. But over here, I can see my hidden text. Now let's log out as Alice, and you can see that the text goes away. Let's try logging in as Bob. And now we get to see it. So now let's log Bob out. Now you'll note that when we logged in, it did not bring us right back to this page. There are other plugins that allow you to decide what happens after login. And they're not related to Paid Membership Pro. They just happen to work on your login. We can take a look at one of those in another series. So to review, we have 2 membership levels, free and $10 per month. And then we created users. And here you can see all users. But if we go back over here to memberships, and we can go to members list, and we can see them here. We can see that neither of them have a fee because I, as the administrator, gave them both access. You can edit someone, which basically simply takes you to the users page to edit them. And you can see their billing address and their membership information. Here at the top, you can export to CSV. So if you have a list of several hundred users, you could export to CSV and then use that to pull it into a mailing program or something and send snail mail to every one of them. In our next video, we'll take a look at what it's like to register a new user on the front end and how that relates to orders. In this session, we're going to take a look at how to restrict content for different levels of membership. The first way we're going to look at is through categories. I currently have two categories, members and uncategorized. There's nothing special about these categories as far as Paid Memberships Pro goes. I didn't do anything to them at all. In fact, you can't do anything to them to make them special. That happens on this page. I'm under Memberships, Memberships Levels. And you can see here my memberships. I'm going to edit the free level. And at the bottom, you'll see that I can choose a category to make automatically available to the free level. And that's uncategorized. If I go back and edit my $10 a month level, you can see that I have them both available. So now, if I edit a post, you'll see that I've selected both categories for this post. And down here, there's another box. We'll talk a little bit more about it in a few minutes, but you can see right here it says this post is already protected for this level because it is within a category that requires membership. So even though I have this check here, it doesn't really matter because what's more important is that it is within a category that is allowed. If I uncheck both of those and update, uncategorized rechecks itself because WordPress does not allow a post to have no categories at all. So I'm going to go back to my membership levels, and I'm not going to use categories at all for them. And we'll look at another way. There. Now, my levels are not using categories at all. Now, if I update my post, I can come down to this box, and it doesn't say anything at all about this box being already protected because of its category. But here I can individually set permissions for this post. I can say that it is available only to the $10 a month crowd. And it has nothing to do with the posts. Now, what's interesting about this Require Membership box is that it is also available on pages. So for pages, this is the only way to deny access to the entire page. So to review so far, if you want to set permissions for large blocks of posts, you can use categories and assign a category to a membership level, and then that entire category works for that membership level. More fine-grained, you can edit individual posts and pages using the Require Membership box. There's one more option that I'm going to show you right now. We'll create a page. I'm going to use the default template. And now we have a page with some content that I'm going to put in here. There, and this page should be available to everyone in the whole wide world. Let's view it. Works great. Now, we're going to look at some shortcodes. This is in the documentation at Paid Memberships Pro, and here is a list of shortcodes. This one will show up for all members. And interestingly, my own username is not a member. I made Alice and Bob in an earlier video, but I am neither of them, and so I don't see that content. And yet I do see the free content. So right within a page, you can decide which bits of information get shown. Here's one that says you can set a specific membership level. You can show several levels. Using -1, you can exclude a level. And if you set membership level 0, it will show up for non-members. Let's try that one since my user is a non-member. So then I come over and I can see will show up for non-members. So there are 3 different ways to restrict content with Paid Memberships Pro. One is by large groups of content using categories. Next is the Require Membership box, which allows you to get fine-grained on a per-page and per-post basis. And then lastly is a very fine-grained method using shortcodes. So within a page or post or widget or anything else really that handles shortcodes, you can hide or reveal content to certain membership levels. In this video, we're going to take a look at the experience of an end user signing up for a membership account. A few things to note. I'm using the test credit card processor for Paid Memberships Pro. So occasionally in my system you'll see an alert that says I have to set up a real one. But the experience will be the same whether I've set up a real one or not, so you could ignore that alert. The first model we're going to take a look at is starting as a logged in user. Currently I am logged in using my Topher account, and that account is not a member at all. It's just a normal WordPress user. This is a nav of all of the pages that Paid Memberships Pro created for me. You can change their names and do anything you want with them, as long as you tell Paid Memberships Pro where they are. The page we're going to be looking for is called Membership Levels. And here you can see both the free one and the $10 a month one. Let's click on the free one first. It says you've selected the free membership level. This level is free so everyone can enjoy. The price for membership is $0 now. And then it says you are logged in as Topher. If you would like to use a different account for this membership, log out now. Then there's a Terms of Service, which I never filled out in my admin. If I had, I would see them here now. Then I can simply click I agree, submit, and confirm. And now my Topher account is a free member. Then we can view our membership account. And it shows my memberships. And I can renew, change, cancel, view my account options, change my password, and see an invoice of when I purchased. I can also view all membership options, which simply takes me back to this, so that I could change my membership option if I wanted to. But what if I were not logged in? Here's a different browser where I'm not logged in at all. So I go again to Membership Levels, and I'll again choose Free. So now it wants all of this information. Or I could log in if I had a new account. I'm not going to. Let's make Charlie accept my blank terms of service and submit and confirm. There. Now I have a new membership. And you can see up here I'm now logged in as Charlie. So in addition to creating a membership, it created Charlie as a user on the website. So now let's log out of Charlie. And it takes me back to here. So let's try and create Charlie again and see what happens. I'm going to choose a different email address because what I'm trying to replicate here is simply another person named Charlie, not actually the first Charlie trying a second time. And here it says that username is taken. Please try another. And there we are. So you can see how it handles two people trying to use the same username. Now, one more thing. Let's try a paid account. There you can see my warning that says a payment gateway must be set up before payments will be processed. It says you have selected the $10 a month membership level. The price for membership is $10 per month. After your initial payment, your first 3 payments will cost $5. That's because I made a discount earlier. So let's make a new username. And then it wants billing information because we're going to be processing a credit card. And here we can put in a card number. Now, because we're in test mode, we can use a fake card number. And let me show you how to find one of those. An easy way is to search for Stripe test cards. And right here is a list of credit cards that you can test with anytime you want. They're fake cards, but they're known to be fake cards, so they're not going to set off any alarms at Visa or anything like that. So I'm going to copy this one, paste it here. You can use any future date, so simply incrementing the year always works, and any CVV works. Then I agree to the terms of service. And there we are. Now, because I made a financial transaction, I actually have an invoice number. It shows how I paid and total billed. Now, if I view my membership account, you can see that I can renew, change, and cancel, just like before. And then here's past invoices. And the past invoices actually matter more to people who have paid money. So that's the experience of creating an account and then viewing your own membership account. It's not very complicated, and yet still allows the end user to have a certain level of control as far as canceling their account or changing it to anything they want. In this session, we're going to take a look at order management. And by order, I mean someone purchasing something from your site. Anytime you take money from someone, you're going to want to keep really good records so that you can look at what they've paid and what they might owe, and you can talk to them about any disputes that may come up. In Paid Memberships Pro, under the nav, there's an Orders section. And here you can see 4 orders. We made those in the last session. 3 of them were free, and 1 of them was for money. So right here on this screen, you can see the date that it happened, the status, transaction IDs, payment, the total paid, the membership level, the user that it's related to, and then a code to uniquely identify this. If you click the user, it simply goes to the user's profile, and we've seen that before. So I'm going to click the code, And now you can see all the details about this. Note that each membership level has an ID. This one is 2. It's the $10 a month one. The WordPress user ID is 6. Here we have all the billing information, the subtotal, and the total. Here we have payment type. We paid with a Visa, and it doesn't actually store the account number. It stores the last 4 digits so that you can uniquely identify a given card. But we don't have the whole number. Then there's the expiration month and year, and then there's a status, which you can actually change. It shows which gateway was used. So if someone comes to you and says they had a problem, you can come in here and say, oh look, all of the PayPal ones have problems. Maybe we should switch to Stripe. Then there are transaction IDs, a date, and some notes. Now the notes stay on this page. They don't go to the end user. They never show up on the front end of the website. They're just for you to keep track of things with a related user. This can be useful if you have multiple support people working with individual users. Now let's take a look at a free one. In many ways they're similar, but much more simple. We don't have billing information because we didn't actually bill for a free one. And the subtotals and the totals are 0. Payment type, all that information is blank. It does show that we used the testing only sandbox testing area. So there's far less information in a free one than in a paid one. Let's look at one that had an existing user already. Nothing's really different. You can see the user ID is 1 because I was the first user on the site. Other than that, everything's the same as a brand new Paid Memberships Pro user. Once you start collecting more and more users on your site, you're certainly going to run into someone who has some problem with their billing. And this is where you're going to need to go to find out what's going on. And it's going to be different with every user. So I can't tell you, always look in this area for a problem. But you should make yourself familiar with this area so that when the problem comes, you're ready to handle it. Another great tool built into Paid Memberships Pro is discount codes. These are easy to set up and allow you to give a discount to any group or person for whatever you wish. Let's take a look at how that works. In the Paid Memberships Pro nav at the bottom is discount codes. We don't have any right now, so let's create our first one. Here's a code, and we could leave it that way, or we can give it a new name if we wish. For example, we could call it Returning, so that we can give a discount to people who come back. We'll say it starts on June 19th, 2015 and ends on June 19th, 2016. And then there's a mechanism for limiting the number of uses. We'll leave that blank for unlimited. And then we'll apply it to the $10 a month plan. So now it says initial payment is $10, recurring subscription. Check this if it has a recurring subscription payment. Ours does, so we'll leave it there. $10 per 1 month. Billing cycle limit. We'll leave that at 0 so that it goes on. And then we can check to add a custom trial period. And then there's a trial billing amount of $5 for the first 3 subscription payments. And then we can choose to set when membership access expires. I'm going to leave that off for right now. So let's set this instead to 0 for the first 3 months. So the first 3 months back are free. And we'll save this code. Now we're already set up to make a new one, but we don't want to do that. Here we have our first code, returning. So next I'm going to manually expire a user. We'll take David Penguin. And we'll say he expired yesterday. There. Now he's expired. So now we're going to pretend that we let our membership lapse, our account was erased, but we want to return. So we're going to use the code returning. I'm going to create a new browser in incognito mode so that it doesn't know that I'm already logged in. And now we will go to membership levels. I will select, and right here it says, do you have a discount code? Click here to enter your discount code. And then you can click apply. And now it says the returning code has been applied to your order. And it says here, after your initial payment, your first 3 payments are free. So they'll want $10 a month right up front. But then the next 3 payments are free. And we don't need to create a new user to see how that works. It's going to be exactly like the last time. The magic of the discount code has already been applied. So you can create just about any kind of discount. You could do a certain amount off a month. You could do a certain number of months free. You could do pretty much anything you can imagine. But be careful with these. If you give them out too often, people start to expect them, and then no one will sign up at the regular rate. This is starting to get into business logic. While you can use discounts all you want, you may not wish to, because it may damage your business. In this last session, we're going to take a look at a few details that were too small to warrant a whole session on their own. First, I'd like to look at reports. Right here in the nav is a section called Reports. And this basically just gives you information about everything that has happened with your Paid Memberships Pro site. You can see here that all time I've had $10 in sales. This year $10, this month $10, and today $10, which means it's been a bad year. However, as you get regular traffic, these numbers will grow. You can click Details, and it will show you some excellent graphs, and you can filter for more specific information. Over here we have views, visits, and logins, which are exactly what they sound like. And again, you can click, and then you can get information about specific users. You can also filter this to show different options. And then there are membership stats, sign-ups, cancellations, and other stats. And again, this can be filtered. This is a good way to get a pulse on how your site is doing over time. Another thing I want to talk about that is completely unrelated is website caching. Website caching is a process where the server makes some static HTML versions of your site and serves them instead of the WordPress versions. This can make your site much, much, much faster and is strongly recommended. However, the Paid Membership Pro pages are fairly dynamic and should not be cached because the static HTML versions won't work. If you go to the Paid Memberships Pro page and log in for the free documentation, there's a page just on using caching plugins with Paid Memberships Pro. And it talks about how to use individual caching plugins. It says you need to exclude all PM Pro generated pages from your cache. With W3 Total Cache, you can add a rule like this. Then you need to disable caching for logged in users or exclude caching on all member protected content. Then you need to disable caching for the webhook or IPN URL used for your payment gateway. Otherwise, you won't be able to accept payments. Now there's an excellent couple of paragraphs here on what this is going to do to your site. It's going to make things slower. And then there's a section that suggests some tips on how to get around the problem of being slow while still not doing whole page caching. This isn't just a problem with Paid Memberships Pro, nor even just with WordPress. Anytime you have a site that has dynamic content, you're going to struggle with caching. Because the whole point of caching is to save a single version to serve to everyone. And with Paid Memberships Pro or a bulletin board system or an e-commerce platform, you want to serve different information to every person, probably on every page load. So this is a difficult problem, and I strongly recommend you read through this page in detail to figure out how you want to handle caching with your site. The last thing I want to look at are add-ons. These four are right in the WordPress repository. In the session about emails, I mentioned that there were ways to make it easier to edit the email templates. Right here is an add-on that adds a nice little window for managing what the emails say. The third-party integration ones can be particularly useful because they're usually made by the people who have the software that it's interacting with. For example, Constant Contact created this Constant Contact add-on, and Aweber made their own, and MailChimp made their own. These particular plugins can greatly enhance your ability to communicate with your users, and good communication is going to generate sales. Here's a recommended plugin. It's not even a Paid Memberships Pro plugin, it's just a WordPress plugin, but it can make your login page look much more attractive, and that is also going to generate sales. Now these plugins are on GitHub, which means you'll have to go to GitHub, download the zip file, and upload the plugin manually. But many of them are worth it. For example, here we have Network and Network Subsite Helper. Using this, you can actually sell entire websites to end users, so they can sign up for their own website, similar to WordPress.com. Here's a registration helper, user pages, all kinds of things. The code gists are actually just chunks of code that you can copy and paste either into your own plugin or your theme's functions.php. This one disables all or specific emails sent by the PM Pro plugin. And this one requires a discount code to check out for a specific level. So not only is it possible to have a discount code, you're required to have it, which means then that people can only sign up if they have the super secret code. You should read through these because they can greatly enhance the functionality of your site, the attractiveness of your site, and both of those things are going to increase sales.